Is there any chance that you guys can hear me? If you guys can hear me, let me know. Oh, great. Okay, thanks. Now I can't figure out how to get my little cartoon face on the screen. I get rid of the video there, but you can't hear me? Oh dear. Okay, so Joni can hear me, but you can't. Oh God. Okie dokie. Well, uh, I don't know how to get my face on the screen there, or my little. Oh, you can hear me now. Okay, great. Well, I don't know which buttons to press right now. Oh, Joni, you're there. Okay, so I can add you to the screen. Well, Joni, yeah, can you hear me? Oh, big bass. Hey, how's it going?
I can hear you
How's your? Oh, you can hear me now. Okay, great. I can hear you too.
now. Okay,
But
good. And I can hear you on the Ulix side. I mean, on the Ulix side. I can hear you on the YouTube side as well.
okay. Now I can't figure out how to get
Hello, Big
our
Bass.
cartoon faces to appear on the screen. Not that it really matters much, but
Okay, I can help you. So at the bottom there, do you see like little squares at the bottom where it shows like where people would look like if they were on the screen?
yeah, I've got
Um,
you on in one box and I'm in another.
right. So across the very bottom where your banner is going, there should
Yeah,
be little uh
kind of like
what would you
Windows,
call
eh?
those? Charming.
Yeah,
And one of them will have the two faces together,
yeah.
and you've got
So I click
that.
on that.
Okay.
Okay.
And then look over because they've been doing all these changes, so I'm having to learn too. Look over to the left
Uh-huh.
side, and there might
Yeah.
be. Do you have two options on the left side up there? One says presentation, and one says I don't know what the other one says.
Oh dear.
On the side, left side, where your live 90, your clock is. So the left side of the thing.
Oh heavens. I'm lost. Oh Jesus. Oh, oh heavens. Good
See what?
grief.
Let me pull up a StreamYard so I can see what it looks like. Let me just go
Okay,
into
so I've got group
the
format here. I click on that, and
They've been
yeah,
making so many changes now that lately, every time I go into, like just now, just coming over here just so that I could, where it says scenes,
yeah,
folders, scenes. Do you see that?
yeah. I got demo scene 1.
Okay.
Yep, demo scene 2.
So it should have
Oh, there.
speaker view.
Oh,
Okay.
I think this is it, maybe.
Did you find
I
it?
don't know. And then, yeah. Oh, jeez, this is a disaster. Perfect start, eh? God,
It'll
I don't
have.
know. Mm.
How'd you even? You got a little video playing, even that wasn't too bad.
Well, I tried to load that up, but I can't. I can get the video up on the screen, but I can't get you or me. Oh, good grief. Oh, dear heavens. Well, why don't we just play another one of these? She's in the meantime.
What happened to you, Big
Uh,
Bass? I thought
oh,
you were
jeez.
going to come
Wait.
join us. You must have had something.
Jeez. Oh, my God. I
Yeah.
think we're in both.
So you've got down underneath, you've got the two icons there. You clicked on the two icons, and then on the side, I guess that's not really mattering. I don't know why it's not showing up.
So,
Well,
oh,
you've got
man.
your screen up, your videos up there. And you've added both of us to the stage, obviously.
Yeah. We can't get our cartoony faces to appear.
Hmm.
Um, Oh, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm going to see if
Oh
I can help
my.
you. Hold on just a second.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh man. Oh,
I'm
you're
going to try
ruining
to
all
share
this.
my screen. If you can see uh, me sharing my screen here
All right.
down at the bottom. Are you
Yeah.
on a phone or are you on a computer?
I'm on a computer.
Oh, okay, okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm sharing my screen down at the bottom, and you can click add to, or you can
Oh, there
just
you are. Okay. So as you, okay, I'll add it.
right. Then you should be able to see it. We can see it on the big
Oh, I
screen.
have to take this off. Okay, and then this. Oh dear.
There you
Okay,
go.
so that
Okay, so this is
appears.
what my backstick. This is what mine looks like. Does yours look like this? No, because
No.
this is a meeting. Hold on. Let me try that again. Let me go into one of my studios. Okay. That was the recording. I didn't know why I did that. Okay. And so now if you look, and that's what your screen looks like. Do you see this over on the side where it says my scenes?
Oh yes. So I've got
Okay.
one.
Okay. You only have one there?
Well, I've got a. There's one underneath.
Okay.
Demo scene number 2.
Because that was something that's new that I'm still not sure what the heck that means, but I thought that might help you out. And then down
Oh
okay.
gee, I
Now
just took
it's
myself
saying,
off the screen.
well,
Yeah.
that's really weird. Okay, so something new is happening I've never seen before. It's popped up a little thing that said you are on the screen with audio only. So I've never seen that before.
Oh.
So
Okay.
is there a way to add audio only? How in the world? I'm learning things. What does that
I
mean?
don't know.
Stop
Yeah,
mute.
this is weird.
Audio only. Right. Hmm.
Oh
Well,
my. Well, here we are.
yeah, we can.
Yeah.
Everybody can hear
Here.
us, can
Yeah. Here we are.
they?
Oh well.
Okay. No worries.
So, are you able to post a link to your article? I want to, I was hoping to review your latest article, but if not, that's okay.
I can. Do you have it there?
No,
Okay, hold
I
on.
don't.
Are you talking about the felt intelligence of the ornament or the precursor, the reflex that built civilization?
The last two that you had mentioned.
Yes, because those I did as kind of sister papers.
Mhm.
Mhm. Did you like them or did you not like them? Should I be
I
worried?
didn't get a chance. Well, I didn't get a chance to see them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I
Oh, I
was hoping to review them.
I got you. Okay, here we go. Copy. Okay. And I'll put them in the chat and I'll put them in the private if I can figure out where the private is. Here it is. Okay. They've changed so much. They changed where the backgrounds now. They've got the background and what it would look like on a phone. And it made where they are. I used to have them because they were big. I could see them and I knew my intro is right here and my outro is right there. And they have since rearranged all that. So now I can't I can't see it as easy. I'll have to look now. So that's very frustrating. I'm not really excited with the new. I'm sure to younger kids, they're loving it, but I don't like when things are changed. I don't like when the grocery store puts my canned food on the other side of the store. Oh, I can't I can't share the links in the public chat because I'm not a mod. So, but I did put them in the private
Oh,
chat.
okay. Well, then maybe if I click things
Don't worry about it. But
differently.
I put them in the private chat. You have them.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to get them on the screen. Would you mind if I put them on the screen?
No, go right ahead.
Yeah, let's see if I can do that with okay. Uh, let's see. I can share. Okay. Oh yeah, I can do this one. Now, are you guys able to see the article now that I'm sharing the screen?
I'm not saying it up there yet.
It's not visible.
You
Oh
have
dear.
the present.
Oh, here. Okay, got it.
Okay,
There we
there
go.
it goes. Yeah, there it goes.
Now, let's see. Okay. Does the screen move? Oh, yeah, it's moving along. Okay. Well, oh, there we go.
Give me a second.
Okay. The reflex, this is the first one, correct? Yeah. The reflex that built civilization. Yeah. Okay. Hey, you've got a button here. Oh, no. All right. So the reflex that built civilization by Joanie
Hey,
Rotten.
Frank. That's me.
Introduction, the meaning of life framework. The meaning of life is a developmental framework proposing that humanity's collective evolution mirrors the growth of an individual human being. In this view, the milestones of civilization, from tool-making to technology, unfold along the same cognitive and emotional pathways that each person traverses from infancy to adulthood. The micro, individual development, and the macro, human history, are reflections of a single pattern of maturation expressed at different scales. By studying key developmental moments in the human body and mind, we can often find their larger echoes in the archaeological and cultural record. The following exploration focuses on one such moment, the infant's grasp reflex. I use this specific reflex in an attempt to illustrate how a single involuntary movement in early life reveals the origins of tool use, adornment, and the enduring human drive to reach beyond the self. I like this.
Cool.
You
I'm
mind?
glad you did. Yeah, keep going. You're fine.
Okay, good. Okay, cool. The reflex that built civilization. How the infant's hand reveals the origins of human thought. Long before humans carved tools, painted caves, or built temples, we learned to close our fingers. Within hours of birth, The palmar grasp reflex emerges, and it's one of our most primal neurological programs. Touch an infant's palm, and the tiny hand clamps shut with astonishing force. The grip can support the infant's entire weight, a vestige of our primate ancestry when newborns clung to their mother's fur. Yet beyond survival, that reflex is a window into the deep continuity between touch and understanding. The infant's reflexive grasp is not yet voluntary, but it's not meaningless either. It's the nervous system's first attempt to claim the world and pull sensation into the self. In those first months, the baby's body is its world. There's no clear line between subject and object. When something brushes the hand and the fingers close, the object becomes an extension of the infant's own body schema. A parent's hair, a necklace, or a finger can all be incorporated into that brief fusion of grip and discovery. And because release is not yet fully developed, what enters the hand stays. Every parent knows the rule. Remove the earring before you pick up the baby. That fierce, unthinking grip is not aggression. Instead, it is cognition in its earliest form. Hand, mouth, and mind, the first circuit. Immediately after the hand secures something, the next step in the reflex loop is to bring it to the mouth. This is not hunger in the feeding sense, it's hunger for information. The baby's brain is wiring together touch, taste, and proprioception, which is the internal sense of position and movement. Each bite, lick, or suck translates physical form into neural language. Developmental neuroscientists often call this sensor-motor integration, the way the hand and mouth co-create the infant's model of the world. Through this loop, touch, possess, taste, understand, the child learns constancy, cause and effect, and self-other boundaries. It's the biological foundation of object permanence and the insight that something continues to exist even when unseen or unheld. The evolutionary mirror, when the world became a body. Now step back a few million years. Early humans also explored their world by grasping it. Before the first stone was shaped, it was held. The act of closing the hand around a rock or stick was the same circuit firing on a species-wide scale. To the early hominin, that object was not yet a tool in the modern sense. Instead, it was a bodily extension. Anthropologists studying Oldowan and Acheulean tools have noted how closely their forms mimic the human hand. Palm-sized, symmetrical, shaped by grips that mirror our proprioceptive map. The brain regions activated during tool making, particularly in the motor cortex and inferior parietal lobule, overlap with those used in planning speech and fine motor control. In other words, the first stone choppers were not only physical extensions of the body, but cognitive ones. The hand was expanding outward into the world, just as the infant's grasp expands its sense of self. This was not invention as abstraction, it was invention as incarnation. The world was not something acted upon, it was something fused with. The early toolmaker didn't yet use tools, they became them, the same way a newborn becomes one with the object in its palm. I really dig this. This is good. Do you mind? I want to continue.
Yeah, I love listening to you read. You read it. It sounds great when somebody else is reading it too.
Adornment, the permanent grass. Centuries later, when humans began wearing shells, teeth, or beads around their necks, they weren't displaying wealth, they were stabilizing that same sensory loop. A necklace, after all, is an object you can both touch and trust to remain. It bridges the reflex and the concept. You no longer need to hold the object to know it's there. This shift marks the cognitive birth of permanence and possession. When the hand lets go, but the object stays close, the nervous system receives a new kind of reassurance. The thing exists beyond my grip. It's a wearable lesson in constancy, a tactile anchor for memory. Modern teething necklaces, still common among parents, echo this ancient connection. They're not truly for teething, they are grasping necklaces, objects designed to feed the same neural hunger for touch, taste, and stability that built our ancestors' sense of permanence. From reflex to reflection, over millennia, that same grasp evolved from physical reflex to symbolic mastery. Every major human advance can be traced back to the circuit. Tool use refined the motor loop. Adornment stabilized the sensory loop. Language externalized the cognitive loop. The hand that once reflexively clenched around hair or stone would eventually write poetry, conduct symphonies, and craft microprocessors. Yet the principle never changed: contact, control, progression. Cognitive scientists now argue that the brain doesn't merely think about the world, it thinks through it. Our hands are still extensions of our minds, and our tools are still extensions of our hands. The enduring reflex. If we trace culture backward, we find the same gesture repeated endlessly: reaching, holding, transforming. The infant's hand and the sculptor's hand, the stone knapper and the engineer, all share one continuous lineage of intention. What began as a reflexive act became the defining behavior of our species: to grasp not just what is near, but what is possible. The baby's closed fist is not a primitive gesture, it's the beginning of civilization. Part two is next: the felt intelligence of adornment. Now, when I click on that page, I've got that on the other. Does that show up here? Are you
I
able to
think.
see the
Mhm.
companion? But anyway, you know what? I want to play my other little trailer.
Well, I love that.
Okay, hold on. Now just remove this for now. With the grasp. There's a part, I'm going to reread it. I got to reread it. Where was it? Up here, where it says, wait, no, I'm going to try to get this back on the screen. Now, let's see if we can get the other.
I love that.
That's cute, eh?
If they just put their balloons together, we'd have a purple balloon. A completion of a circuit or an arc. Roy G.
I
Bibb
like
and
that.
all.
Where is it? Well, there's a part in the article where you point out how the object, the child learns how the object exists beyond their grasp.
Right. Yeah, it
Yeah.
has to start with, we're forgetting that starts with one thing. It all
Yeah.
starts with one moment, one reflex, something we have no control over. And then it ends, it just continues. So I don't know. That's why I like the meaning of life, our collective is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. All of our behaviors are normal based upon what age we are. And it explains all the bad stuff we've done in the past. And it because you're a child when you're doing these things, you get, I hate to say biblical references, but you can tie in these ideas of the way we were historically and spiritually throughout history. Just makes sense. It just makes sense to me.
Hey, Frank. And Sam Bouquet.
That is Bouquet Samuel.
Bouquet. Bouquet Samuel.
Like a bouquet of flowers.
Yeah.
It's a bouquet of Samuels.
Well, welcome, y'all. Still haven't figured out how to click our faces on here. But
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. Part 2. You guys want to hear part 2? I want to read part 2.
Yeah, if you want to, go ahead, because then while I was researching that information, I realized the necklace. I talk about it in my next paper. So then I was going to add a little tiny segment, but the more I was looking and the more I thought about it, the more I thought that's really a section by itself. The kissing, the lips, where the lips come in, the oral moment of the necklace. So that adornment, what was its real purpose? Were we wearing necklaces for adornment to look pretty? We couldn't even see them. And I propose another idea as to why necklaces were the first thing we put on our body. As an individual. I think I mentioned it in the paper, but I'll say this. What really sparked me was I had this thought that at some point necklaces would have been unique, no two alike. And so in the very beginning, you would have hand done it. So would you hand do a bunch of the same, or would you make each one a little bit different? And myself as an artist, I thought, well, I would have made them all different. And so I went back and looked, and sure enough, in the very oldest of these, charms, they're each different. You don't find, it's not until we reach a point of the understanding of a second person or a you that we start to see pendants coming out with similar motifs, marking. So I predicted, or I had thought that maybe we did them as a way of marking ourselves. Either we gave them to someone else, we swapped them, or we marked them and wore them and gave them. Either way, that's the same thing as a baby's behavior. So somebody might say, well, if they give them something, then there must be a teenager, because that's what teenagers do. No, but babies do that too. They share with each other. Babies will stick their half-soaked cracker in your mouth with no problem. They'll share everything. So we would have done that as a species. Anyway, go ahead and you tell me what you think. Well, I'd love to hear what you thought about this one before you read the next one.
The second one, the felt intelligence of the ornament, right?
This was the first one I wrote. The next one will be its sister papers. So I wrote this one first. The idea of the fist of the baby. I was looking at the early tools, and they're fist shaped, they're palm shaped. And that got me thinking about the palm reflex. And so what I'm basically doing is I'm suggesting that this is a framework that we can visibly, every one of us, go and find just interesting things about history, and then lining it up with a developmental stage that correlates and finding, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Of course we used rocks, and not to bash things. That's the outcome of it. But let's consider what we're talking about. We're talking about very early human, hominins, and we're talking Paleolithic time frame. And we see palming stones or rocks that fit into the middle of the hand that were then used as tools. A newborn with that reflex to hold whatever's in their hand. I can hold it. A rock would have felt like that to them. And then they would have done something with it. If you know anything about babies, why the earring thing? They wave the hand back and forth. They rip the earring out. They pull the necklace. They break the pearls. They pull it to themselves. They pull it to their mouth, and they hit into the air, practicing the arm reflexes. And now not only can I move my hand, but I can hold something and move my hand, and it's an extension of self. It's not a tool yet. So when we are bashing things, we can't consider our ancestors coming from a place of understanding. They would have been bashing things and the outcome, because they're very mature. We're talking about a baby that bashes something and gets a response instantly, but thousands of them on the planet, everyone experiencing this at the same time. And then once that section was mastered, we start to see the next thing unfold, and necklaces come right around the time. They're not very far off from each other. And that is also what happens with the baby to the mouth. And I thought of the teething necklaces that mothers buy. No, they're not teething necklaces. They're grasping necklaces. You wear them so the baby has something to grasp instead of your hair or your necklace or your earrings or your nose or your ear. Have you ever had a baby get a hold of you? Them things are dangerous. They have death grasps. And, so I just find that interesting. Now, I could be wrong. Somebody could come and say, that's ridiculous. That's fair. All historians know better. But I just suggest there is a possible other idea to help us understand what our ancestors used these objects for, how they learned about them, and how they, it just seems like that would be helpful if I was a historian or an archaeologist or a philosopher or anything that goes along. Anyway.
I think it would be helpful, most particularly if you were just an advisor to a young parent, in that understanding all this makes more and more sense to in the context of a specific type of child rearing, whereas the old-fashioned, well, I don't know if it's old-fashioned, the way we were raised, kids being thrown in a crib or thrown in a playpen and the door shut and they can cry themselves to sleep, sort of thing, wouldn't really grasp any of this. Like, this is like talking a foreign language to the style of parenting that doesn't involve close contact with the child.
Well,
And understanding this aspect of our development then becomes a baseline to understanding how close contact with an infant and continued close contact is important to their development.
Well, and let me pull this out a little bit, because what I like about this framework is that at the time, just, in the last generation, like you're describing, the way that we have treated children throughout history, the way we have currently treated children in this epoch is very normal for the age we would be. So a 12-year-old kid that has to bring their little brother, or a teenager that has to bring their little sister on the date, these kinds of ideas exist in real life. And they're not just a metaphor. They're how a child thinks at that moment. And what's really interesting is we actually removed babysitting from society. So the Western civilization no longer has adolescents or younger kids being babysat by older kids. And to me, that's a very scary potential outcome. But at the same time, it seems like it would be normal. If I didn't have my dad telling me to take my little sister out, I'm not going to. And that is exactly what our species is doing right now. We don't want to. I don't have to take my little sister. And so metaphorically, we're expressing that same behavior. But I also want to note that elementary school, late elementary school. So I personally believe that right now our species is in its adolescent stage. We are having a bar mitzvah. That's what all the 666 and 777 and the Shemitahs and all of the religious second coming, I believe that's what all of that points to, because that's what they love, a rite of passage. And that's what they would have wrote in their works. And I think that's what we're experiencing, a rite of passage right now. And so what happens in that double digit late elementary school is empathy for others. And so we are starting to see, oh, maybe we're not treating the kids as well. And then our solution was to try a little bit better. Hold on just 1 second.
Let's try to pass it. Like we're going through a stage whereby there's
Okay, I'm sorry,
parallels.
my wee came in. So sometimes I'm interrupted by wees.
Oh yeah.
Weenuses. I was going to say my weenus, but that didn't sound good. And then I was like, oh, wait, to stop saying that word before it comes all the way out. But you know, I call her my wee. Okay, so I was saying for a kid. So I think one of the things, Charming, thanks for letting me talk. I think.
Oh, no, not at all.
I think one of the most interesting things about what I've been, learning and what have always been interested in is that children are just freaking amazing. And it's really hard, even for me, to not want to be selfish and have time. If I gave her everything, I'd also be screwing up. So, there's this thing that it's very hard. I don't know. I'm also a teenager. That's what I'm trying to say. I am also in an epoch with everyone else, trying to balance my schoolwork and my social life with babysitting. It's a teen mom is a difficult place to be sitting. And I think that's where we're all at. And that's why we're behaving in some of the ways. You know what Angie's List did here in America? I don't know if you had anything like this, but we had this website called Angie's List. And it basically, the only reason I know it is because it was well liked. It was a moment in time that I could pinpoint it on a board with a stick pin, where we started babysitting. You don't want a teenager babysitting. We've got trusted college students. We have trusted adults. And that's what they were for babysitting, plumbing, electrical work. If you needed your fence done, it was, of course, all these companies paid to be on this list, but that's not how it was sold to us. And what Angie's List did was it removed babysitting completely. I saw millennials went crazy for the babysitting, and everyone I knew, no babysitting is going on anymore. No one's calling teenagers. It started to switch the way we treated our kids when they were younger. And I found it very interesting. But now that I'm looking in hindsight, I see what was happening. It's the way we start to think. We're not going to leave the kid unassisted, but I'll pay my friend to come do it for me. It's that type of an idea that we're expressing collectively at certain moments. Late elementary school comes empathy. That's why when we reach the rite of passage, we stand up to the bully. That's what your rite of passage is. That's it. It's the moment that you say no to whoever is your aggressor. A parent, it's double digits marks the age most kids run away from home. So double digits, 10, 11, 12, tween years before they hit 13 and are officially into adolescence, or puberty is full on. So these double digit years are massive amounts of stuff is changing in the brain. It's pruning everywhere. Everybody thinks adolescence is puberty, but the brain is where it's really going nuts. And before the body catches up, it's the mind is going crazy, pruning. And it does that in a way to let the body focus on things too. If you know anything about the body, it kind of wants to move around what it focuses on. So you get sayings like early walkers, late talkers. And that same thing will happen in puberty. So some kids will, in girls. Some girls might have hair before they develop breasts, or they might have breasts before they develop hair. So you can have different things. All these different things are normal. But a lot of things are going on, and we have to stand up to the abuser then. That's why they do the rites of passage, or go face the wolf in the woods, or through Aborigines beliefs. This is a big deal. And I think that's what's happening on a collective scale. This is the big deal. That's why it feels so big. A lot of the things we say too, like, remember when you were in adolescence, when you were in double digits. So double digits, that's 10 to 19. Okay. After that, you're in your 20s. Double digits, those 10 years feel massively intense. Everything is a crisis. Nothing is fair. Nothing works. And it's not when you and I talk and I say, oh my gosh, Charming, everything's going wrong. Not everything's going wrong. That, I'm in a flood. But to a 12-year-old, not everything is everything. Everything. It feels like an eternity. It feels like hell, even if it's not. And I find that very interesting, even in the sense of the way people talk about this stage will end, or hell ends eventually. Of course it does. We grow up out of that. So I imagine the next, epoch is going to be horrendous. I really do believe this transhumanism is going to be horrendous, because if I'm going back to high school on a species scale now, that just sounds really scary. And it helps you understand, forgive yourself. I think we'll see the empathy change towards children, because even though they removed babysitting, I still think babysitting is hardwired in us. So I think if I was to believe in conspiracies or manipulations by business, I would agree that destroying the family also included the babysitter, with intent to quelch the impending cognitive thing that pops open in us. Because at a babysitter, a babysitter becomes a hero in a sense. They were very instrumental. And I mean that from all terms, from the lady down the street in the cribs, all of that kind of person or idea, and through the human species, how I, as a 16-year-old, enjoyed babysitting. I wanted to make some money, and I liked kids, and I was a favorite in the neighborhood. So everyone had my number. And I wasn't alone. And they've removed that, but I don't think that still doesn't exist in at least half the population. So at some point, I think it's going to get triggered on again, and we'll have another resurgence of empathy towards children and other people's children. And right now, because we're so young, that is not what we're doing. Does that make sense? And then I'll shut up now. I've rambled.
Well, yes, I look forward to a future where the natural instinct that, it seems to me it's an instinct to engage in babysitting sees a resurgence.
I might need to do a deep dive in babysitting and write a paper on that. Just that specific history and idea behind it. Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting to think about. Keep going. Sorry.
Because I see it as, if not as a result of necessity. Why it's not more common now, when people struggle to pay for or struggle to find childcare, for their kids when they go off to work. Well, it's not, babysitting isn't more common now. I don't know, but I'm expecting it to be to see resurgence out of a necessity.
Oh man, I'm so glad that we're having this talk because you're making me think of things where I could be wrong and where it it might it might be well because if we naturally left, so maybe we weren't controlled. Maybe as a species, we are exactly what we're doing. We're naturally, because one of the things I think about the way infertility and the way this movement of let's not have children has showed up seems very much, and I think I did write a paper on abstinence already, but just a section of the abstinence concept and why it became a movement through Britney Spears and Justin. That whole era the millennials were hit with is because we're going into the epoch, the adolescent stage, and our mindset. So I'm saying the micro and the macro play out. Not saying we're going to physically, but we are kind of physically. The body and the mind is moving together through time. And right now, we're not supposed to be having babies. And if we are creating the world that we're in, then it makes sense that we would also have this type of thinking right now where sex is taboo, but yet we can't stop looking at boobs because I'm a teenage boy and I can't help it. And I'm a girl and he's cute, you know? So when I think of it in terms like that, then yeah, I can kind of see why we're having these types of behaviors, why this is kind of a trend from a behavioral standpoint, not a manipulative standpoint, you know. And I personally think if they're right and we are creating this reality, including the Illuminati that we seem to be deciding is the alien enemy, it's hard for me to buy that. It's hard for me to buy that because it all seems pretty normal for what age we would be. It all seems absolutely on point. And I think we do have to stand up to the bully or the mom or the dad in your life or the big brother or sister, whoever your bully is, whoever it is that's harassing you, Uncle Bob, I don't know. But if I know one fact, I can tell you one fact about human development, even if you don't believe my theory of the meaning of life is founded. I'll tell you one thing that happens if a teenager, if an adolescent of double digits, tween ager, does not stand up to that kid in middle school, they will be shoved in lockers in high school. They will forever be teased for the next 4 years. I know that for a fact. That is a repeated thing that every one of us can think for 5 seconds and know the kid that always gave up their lunchbox or whatever. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if society acts the same, keep going.
No, I know what you mean. I At the same time, I would look at school as being a bad environment. You
Absolutely.
know, so how a child copes socially in that sort of environment um, is something that most of us, have to endure. But I also see it as how does a child cope with abuse?
Mm,
And it, like you said, it can come from any direction, outside the house, inside the house, at school, outside, and so on and so forth. But in essence, how does a child deal with either abuse or restrictions on their freedom?
sure.
And so when we start with the infant, and as we have, analyze the grasp of the infant's hand, um, we're analyzing a child that is free.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to figure out, okay, or we try to figure out how that child copes and responds to restrictions on their freedom and people telling them what to do and what not to do, and them trying to figure out what are silent laws that nobody's telling them they got to figure out on their own, and what are all the orders that have been given to them, and they got to make sure they're following all the orders, so on and so forth. But in essence, we start off with a being that's free, and we nurture it, and that so that that being can cope in a world that has restrictions of their freedom. And some of it comes out, in my opinion, as abuse.
Mm-hmm. Well, the fear we have in elementary school, preschool, so it starts preschool years as soon as we're mastered movement. That's the fear of the loss of autonomy. So if you reach 13 and you haven't conquered your loss of autonomy, or what you just described, that's what that is, exactly what you described. That I have to have a rite of passage. I have to stand up for myself. I have to come and step into myself and say no, and take, how am I going to react to this abuse in whatever form it comes in? And it is so important that up until the millennial, the year 2000, it belonged in our civilization from the very beginning. That's how important the rite of passage is. And for the first time ever, we had that bully resurgence in the schools. The schools got so bad that, of course, it groomed this. And we were also trying to put kids on medications. A lot of things were happening, remember, the last 20 years. And then we got parents having to step in, and we got all these kinds of stories, and we got bullying campaigns. And now we're at a shaming level where we're calling out every bully everywhere. Is that our way of standing up, or are we taking the appropriate steps to face the bully right now? Is this the right thing to do? I'm asking legit questions. I have no answers.
My first thought is the best thing to deal with bullies is to avoid them. And if we're stuck in school, we can't do that.
Right.
I don't know if there is a solution, but I, I, I think what we're witnessing and experiencing now is uh, a net result of younger people being raised by parents who were confused.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in essence, um, there's a whole generation of people, either our age or older, who were raised in very diverse manners at a time when beating a kid was considered normal or acceptable. And so,
We beat
after
our
a couple of generations,
brothers and sisters, didn't we? Do you remember when we go through that stage of our own human development where we beat up our brothers and sisters, where we beat up everybody? Frank's talking about
yes,
it. So that's where we were when we were doing that. That's the age we were at. So to treat our kids in these ways, totally normal for how we would have understood the world around us during that age, if it was, because these superimpose on top of each other. So you have an expression of that 9-year-old you that just sucks your brother in the mouth for no reason whatsoever, right? Mm-hmm. Sorry, keep going now. I'm listening.
yeah, and that's how a youngster learns the concept of hierarchy and authority, and who's in control and who's not, and who's pretending to be in control when they're not, and so on and so forth. Fighting with a sibling is not the same as getting beaten up by a parent. And that distinction in some families may be confused or whatever, but
That's
I
very
think
good.
we're 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 um we're raised by parents who were confused themselves. So how to properly raise a child and what formula to feed them, what fake food to feed them, what Cheerios to feed them, and how many needles and injections to give them, so on and so forth, was cluttering their mind such that I wouldn't expect most people in our generation to have been properly raised, or at least have been raised in a manner in which they can say, "Oh yeah, 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 that's how I'll raise my kid," whether it's good or bad. The point I'm getting at is that a whole generation was confused, and I don't know if the effect on their kids is intentional beyond the level of confusion. So now, finding a person who agrees on child rearing philosophy isn't so easy. It's not the same as it was before. It's easy to disagree and argue over how to parent a child, which is often how friends turn into enemies. Once they get kids, and certain things, either certain differences in philosophy get exposed that otherwise wouldn't.
Exactly what you're talking about.
A
Can
couple of
I have
people are talking about,
Charming? Can I step away from my keyboard for a couple of minutes?
oh yeah, yeah, no problem. I want to read the second article.
Okay, go right ahead, and I'll be right back. Okay.
All right. So now we're on to the continuation. Let's see. A companion to the reflex that built civilization. We're going to get past the introduction. Okay, learn thyself. When I was a kid, I had long hair that felt cool against my back. I remember standing in the shower, leaning my head back so the water would drag my hair further down, brushing new parts of my skin. I would twist in the pool, feeling my hair ripple around my shoulders and face. I wasn't just pretending to be a mermaid. I was discovering myself through sensation. It was one of those times I can recall being aware of my body as something I could feel from the outside in. That tiny, wordless experiment captures a much older story. Long before humans looked at their reflection, they felt it. The earliest ornaments, being necklaces of shells, stones, or animal teeth, were not designed to be admired. They were made to be known by touch. The reflex remembered. In the reflex that built civilization, we explored how the newborn's palmar grasp, the reflex to close the hand when touched, became the foundation of tool use, language, and civilization itself. That same neural loop never really disappears. It matures. Toddlers soothe themselves with pacifiers or thumb sucking. Older children chew pencils or press hoodie strings to their lips. These gestures are not mere habits, but echoes of that original hand-to-mouth circuit that once taught the infant the world around them. The lips remain a sensory border between self and world. Whenever we encounter change or uncertainty, the body instinctively revisits that edge for reassurance. This is not a fixation, as Freud once claimed, but a regulation mechanism. The same trigeminal nerves that mediate the infant's sense of safety still activate when we touch an object to our lips. It's a built-in grounding signal. I'm here. The world is here with me. From necklace to nerve map. Archaeology tells us that personal adornment is among humanity's oldest symbolic acts. Beads and pendants made from shells Smooth stones and animal teeth appear as early as 100,000 years ago. That's roughly the era when Homo sapiens began showing signs of abstract thought. Many of these objects, when reconstructed and hang at chest length, uh, maybe there's something with that sentence. I don't know. Anyways, we'll
Yeah,
carry
I can
on.
read. I see. I just wrote height instead of length. You're right. I just need to fix that. Where they
Yeah,
hung
maybe.
on the
Sorry.
chest. Yeah. Okay. I'll edit that.
No problem. Just close enough for the wearer to touch or even lift to the lips. Microscopic analysis of wear patterns shows that these items were polished by constant contact with skin, not by tools. The edges are rounded from friction against the body's movement. These were felt ornaments, designed for sensation as much as for sight. The position and texture of these adornments matter. Teeth are smooth and cool, stones warm quickly against the skin. The necklace moves when the wearer breathes or walks, and each swing a whisper of self-awareness. To wear such an object was to feel continuity, an external world that stayed with you, brushing your skin with each heartbeat.
Hey, Charming,
Yeah.
can you take Frank's comment off of there? Because when you get to a certain part, I'm reading along with you, and when you
Oh,
get
dear
there,
heavens. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
there you go. All right.
Right. Yeah, it covers up there in the bottom. Yep. Tactile consciousness, when the body becomes geography. This is where the meaning of life framework comes in. In the Paleolithic epoch, the developmental newborn of civilization, humans were still learning their boundaries, just as a child does. Through touch, the body mapped itself. Hair, fur, dangling teeth, water, and wind became cartographers of the skin. The necklace served as a moving landmark in this internal geography. It traced the neck, the chest, the collarbone, the same regions infants explore with their hands and mouths. To wear a necklace was to externalize that exploration, to keep the world's touch available as the self expanded. In this sense, adornment was not decorative, it was cartographic. It charted where I ended and everything else began. The transitional gesture. By the time we reach the historical stage that mirrors middle childhood, somewhere roughly between the Neolithic to early classical eras, the necklace has evolved into an amulet, and the gesture of bringing it to the lips appears in myths, rituals, and daily habit. Children still perform it without instruction. They touch pendants, pencil ends, or strings to their lips during concentration or uncertainty. The action is quiet but universal, a private act of reconnection. Neurologically, this behavior activates the same calming pathways as rhythmic rocking or deep breathing. Developmentally, it signals a transition. The individual moving from the secure base of early childhood into the wider, more abstract world of social rules and identity. The body remembers the map it once drew through touch and uses it to stay oriented. Anthropo- Anthropologically, the same gesture becomes ritualized. Ancient peoples kissed amulets, touched lips to sacred objects, or wore charms close enough to feel against their heartbeat. Each act re-anchored the self through contact, like an embodied declaration that faith, safety, or love that could be felt. Adornment as sensory language. When we view these behaviors together, we form a single lineage. The infant grasps and mouths the world to understand it. The child touches or kisses objects to find comfort and focus. The adult wears or venerates ornaments as sources of meaning. Across epochs, humanity refines the same vocabulary of touch. Smooth stones, cool teeth, and strands of hair all communicate through sensation what words could not yet say. The ornament is not symbolic because it looks like something, but because it feels like something. This tactile language reminds us that consciousness was never confined to the head. It has always been written on the skin. The moving necklace, when rhythm became meaning. When we imagine those early necklaces against living skin, we must also imagine them in motion. Humanity's first adornments didn't hang quietly. Instead, they moved with us. During the Paleolithic and early Neolithic eras, our ancestors walked, climbed through, hunted, and ran. A constant rhythmic motion of breath and heartbeat. Every step set the ornament swinging, striking the chest or the upper back in time with the body's pulse. That steady tick of bead or tooth against flesh was more than incidental noise. It was a physical metronome of life itself. In modern movement, a pendant oscillates about twice per second, which is roughly the same frequency as a human heartbeat. The chest felt its own rhythm echoed back from outside the body. Each run, each climb was accompanied by that tactile drumbeat reminding the wearer, I am here and I'm alive. Over time, those repeated touches left traces. Many excavated teeth and shells show rounded edges and a glossy patina caused by long friction against skin or hide. The so-called use wear archaeologists measure may not only record centuries of contact, it may be the literal polishing of objects by the heartbeat's rhythm. The world, worn smooth by life's pulse, the body in motion, the body in time and space. As societies transition to slower rhythms, we see gathering, farming, and weaving show up, and the necklace's motion changed character. No longer drummed in stride with the chase, it swayed gently in view, pacing the breath of labor. What had been percussion became pendulum. The ornament still marked time, but now it marked continuity rather than pursuit. In that transformation, we can trace an entire developmental arc. In the hunter's rhythm, the ornament confirmed vitality through motion, just like the infant discovering its heartbeat. In the father's rhythm, the ornament affirmed constancy through repetition, just like the child learning stability and routine. Later still, in settled societies, the same necklace rested quietly over the heart, its stillness now symbolizing faith, memory, or love. Across these shifts, the body and its ornament remained in conversation. The external object, once an extension of the fist, became an echo of the pulse. It was a bridge between touch and time, body and meaning. When the beat finally slowed and humans began to write, pray, and sing, that old rhythm remained beneath every word and drum. The necklace becomes a symbol of heart, comfort like a nursing baby to the flutters of first loves. This is poetic. I love it.
Thank you.
Conclusion. Learning by feel. My my childhood memory of the sensation of my hair sliding down my back isn't trivial nostalgia. It's a glimpse into how the nervous system learns itself. The same awareness that made me twist in the water to feel my hair move is what made early humans string shells into necklaces and wear them against their body. Through touch, we discovered selfhood. Through adornment, we learned to keep that discovery close. The human story, from reflex to reflection, is a story of learning by feel. Thank you for reading and listening. We'd love to hear your thoughts. I'll continue to share the connections that the meaning of life exposes. If you have any subjects you wish me to consider, leave a comment. If you found this interesting, check out my other posts. All my work is free to read. Oh, okay. No responses yet. Let's post those links.
Yay! If my friends would go in and just hit the little thumbs up button, it might get
Here's
seen
the
by
first,
others.
the second one.
That would be right.
And
If
let's
you
see
like
if we can get,
them.
and this is,
I'd love to hear you just do a recording of you reading them and then
hey,
telling
Li's
me
here.
what you thought.
How you doing? Now, there's something about here.
Hey, Lie, I don't know if you heard me. I saw you coming in there.
Well, there's something about the adornment in that, um, in essence, the whole premise matches and works well when it comes to infants who are blind or perhaps are deaf. All these principles seem to, in my opinion, seem to be a lot more important and obvious.
Well, isn't it touch? I'm not asked. I know. Touch is our first sense. So the other senses are muted and muffled. Touch and taste is the first senses we get. So first touch the mother, then you start nursing and you're tasting the world and you start mouthing everything and tasting it. So those are, if God made those the first two things, you can see why kissing,
if anybody wants to join us,
is boyfriend, girlfriend.
Feel free, but I can't figure out how to hit the right buttons. So, Big Bomb Bass, how's your toothache? Did you get rid of the tooth? Seems like you're still alive, and you survived the ordeal.
I think he said his mouth hurt. Can you hear me, Charming?
Yeah, I want to play my trailer again. Okay, let's see. Is this it? No, I can't. Oh my, that's why I can't hear you. No, oh my heavens, I hit the wrong button. Here, okay, let's get rid of this. Oh, pardon. There we go. I think I must have, Joanie.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
now?
you should be audible now.
Okay, I think
I turned you off. Oh yeah, because I don't know what I hit, but welcome back.
Okay, cool. I'm back now.
Yeah, I was saying that the principles are much more obvious and apparent to the infant child who may be deaf or blind, and the concept of the grasp, and then the extension of the adornment necklace becomes more and more obvious as a natural reflex, and then part of their development.
Our first sense we get is touch, followed by taste, and then you got ears and eyes, and what's the other one? And there are 5 of them.
Smell.
Touch first, taste second, hearing,
smell,
eyes. What's the other
taste,
sense?
and smell.
Smelling, right? Smelling is one of the first senses as well. Maybe it is the first. Wouldn't that be fun to find out? The first baby smell mom and then they touch her, but I don't think so, because the first thing we do is put them to us. So touch, and then you would get taste and smell coming right side by side holding hands, which makes sense because our taste and smell are deeply related. And then the ears and the eyes would come next. I mean, a baby is 6 months before it can see the whole full rainbow spectrum. So that's 6 months of their life before their eyes are really able to see the world in that way.
I think there's a time delay before the color of their eyes becomes apparent as well.
Right. Yeah, you're blue or brown. Babies can be born brown-eyed, but if they're going to change colors, those are the two that they all start with those two, and then they can change colors after that. That doesn't necessarily equal. So blue-eyed babies can turn brown-eyed, but I don't believe brown-eyed babies end up with blue eyes, although they might end up with somewhat lighter eyes. Almost most babies' eyes look very similar when they're first born. They kind of look like a cut olive, like a black olive you cut in half. They kind of have a gray tone to them in a sense. They're interesting.
Yep. So Jerry, I'm not too sure. Since I thought you were getting a touch of Vicks, wondering why.
I think
I'm not too sure what you mean, Jerry, but
I think he's making a joke.
yeah, I thought so too. It's neat. I really
Jerry,
dig.
you son of a bitch!
I got a kick out listening to Vic wait for his fox to eat her dinner. It made me get an appreciation for what my children experience listening to me mumble and talk to myself in the other room.
You gotta love Vic.
I love them. Yeah, I was
True,
hoping.
Jerry. Sound is received within the womb. So is taste. That's very interesting. Now, Jerry, you're making me think of things. I might have to reevaluate what I'm saying. Maybe there's because I actually have taken the meaning of life and specifically laid it on top of the 10 months because there's 10 stages of life that are physical and there's 10 months of pregnancy. So I thought, I wonder if those would also line up. If I took the major developmental milestones and laid them on top of the fetal development of a baby, and you wouldn't believe that they line up. That you get sexual organs outside your body at 7 months, the 7th stage of development. The adolescence is your 7th stage of development. That you would get your I don't know. I have it all and I have notes. I haven't read a paper on that one yet. But in my little chart, I broke it off. Let me pull it up because I have it right here. So I did. I broke the fetal stage up into, so in the 3rd month you get the ears, the eyelids, and the nose beginning to form. And so and then if you go to your 1, 2, 3, if you go to your 3rd developmental stage, so your 3rd stage, which is baby stage, 6 to 9 months, that's where you have the full visual. Your hearing is acute. That's the age that kicks on, and that's the same age it develops in your womb. And I find that really interesting. And the same thing happens, say the 2nd month, the arms and the legs form. Well, the 2nd stage of development is the infant, where they start having control over the arms and the legs that they formed in the 2nd stage of their development in the womb. And that happens over and over again. The 5th stage is when your fingerprints form, the 5th month. And if you go through and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, guess what? The 5th stage it's your preschool or your first I am awareness of self. And you get the fingerprints on the 5th month. That's amazing. That is amazing. Now let me tell you what the 6th month brings. A mother begins to feel movement inside the womb. Now mother can feel the movement. Well, what's 6th stage? School age, where the child is now moving away from her and bumping into her and moving around the world. And she can feel him emotionally. A mother knows their little kid and they worry. And in the womb, we also have that moment that the mom can feel the baby, just like she can feel her child as they start to separate from self. And then you get 7th month, 7th stage, sex organs are visible. That's adolescence. And then eighth month, eighth stage, that's young adult, the inner ear is developing, and baby can have a sense of position in the uterus, or it is a man now and has a sense of position in the world. And then you get middle age, or the ninth month, and the ninth month of fetal development is, can you survive? You can now survive premature. You've hit middle aged, and then your 10th month, or your wise elder. All organs are developed and now in position for birth. I mean, that just blows my mind. I think that is freaking amazing.
I particularly like the parallels between embryonical development and the meaning of life, like the stages laid out in the meaning of life. I like the parallels.
It just shows up everywhere, including astrology in your houses. And there's so many parallels that you can find. It's unbelievable to me. And just when I think this is a stupid idea, and because recently I was looking into jars. We have jars with no lids and jars with lids. And I kind of had this idea that maybe jars without lids were, because we have some early archaeological evidence that we had kind of holes, that humans put holes. And it's my belief that that has something to do with learning object permanence, where a hole or a jar with no lid, a pot with no lid, these large, was more about being able to peek inside and see outside, and peek inside and see outside. And so we have kind of burial chambers that were kind of made in this open style. And I'm still trying to put the pieces together there, because I do think that there's something there in the idea of that. Because, you know, when you see an infant, that's kind of, I'm sorry, a baby, that's kind of what they're doing. You know, they're looking under things, and, you know, an exploring baby, one that can scooch. I'm not even talking about one that can crawl yet, but even rollers, you know, kids that roll, babies that roll, the way they're viewing the world is unique to learning the object permanence, that things have boundaries. You know, you roll into the wall, or you roll off the blanket, and there's just that nub of the blanket that gives the body sensation of a boundary that you've just crossed. I just find these little things so fascinating to consider, that these are massive understandings in the infant mind that we kind of poo-poo away as not having any meaning. And I'm saying, not only are they massive in infant, but they're massive on a historical scale as well. And we see massive movements that are very similar to that type of. And it's about that time that we start to have the hunter-gatherers showing up, where boundaries to a baby are understood. And what did we do? We started creating boundaries. We started corralling animals. We started keeping things in, you know, we started making homes and, you know, some type of hut or something like that. Well, that can't be coincidental.
You'd mentioned the exploring the relationship with burial sites. I want to share something that that's somewhat related in my parents' culture from a long time ago. Their tradition would be to not so much bury people, but to place them in mausoleums
Right.
or large stone coffins, so to speak. And because of the climate in that area, eventually all the bodies would just disappear into dust.
Interesting.
And so the tradition was every new burial was, you know, the person was tossed into the same mausoleum, or in essence stone box, in which their ancestors are resting at the bottom, and they would just toss the next person in, and everybody would just dry up and turn into dust. There's no
That's
need to bury anybody or preserve their remains, because it was geographically or geologically possible over there. And so, out of necessity, the tradition would be, I guess, a child growing up in this environment, um, integrating the cycle of life without having to be taught.
Exactly. And that goes on to what you see throughout history there, where we're putting people in things, either even going into the ground. So caves, and we put our dead in things like that, jars, caves, into a hole in the ground. And I think that the earliest people, if you were to go back and ask an infant, a newborn baby that just came out of the womb, where it came from, what do you think it would do? How do you think it would explain itself? It would say, put it back where it came from, put it back into the womb. And, back to where you were. I mean, the symbolism to me is quite simple to see. But why would we do that? Why would we put it back into a hole? Because that's a womb. It's back to where it came from just now. It was just here. Put it back into the womb to be born again. And so I think
I have to share.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to share my experience, and this is what came out of my first son's mouth.
Okay.
After his little brother was born. His little brother was born at home in the bathtub, and it was a quick labor, and it was obviously painful, and their mother was screaming. And my first son said that his little brother came into this world to cure his mother's back pain. Because after he was born, all the crying and the screaming stopped.
Oh, right. She had back pain while she was pregnant.
Well, he didn't understand why his mother was screaming in the middle of the night. And I said, okay, she's got back pain right now. It's very bad.
I get you.
Just hold on tight.
That's adorable. That's adorable. That's the mind of a child. That's how our ancestors would have viewed the world. You nailed it. You nailed it. That's how they would have seen things from a fundamental place, not an elementary or child, not that term, not an immature term, a very mature term, but in a fundamental. Would you say that's a better way to say that? You can correct my language. How would you get that across? I think maybe Lord Raver, our Lord and Raver, is here.
You guys are all welcome to join us if you want. Anybody wants to chat. It's just I can't figure out how to put our cartoony faces on the screen. If anybody knows how to operate StreamYard better than us. Oh, gee, I wish I could do that.
Next time I have a stream and you come up with me, and you're in, I'll have you come up with me and we'll see if I can't. I don't know. We'll figure it out. You might have to watch the video. I want to know why. I think I can help you. Watch a video, Charming. I think they offer a free there. StreamYard. Yeah, I don't like when they change things. And retro
is complicated for me. Vic was able to do it, but I can't. Maybe I should call Vic and ask to help me.
Vic is live. That's what I always yell out. Let's see him live. Vic is live. He's our one friend. So, yeah. Oh, I was going to say, I think I was muted when I said earlier, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but,
okay.
But I would love to hear you read without a stream. Just read, like upload a video of you reading my papers and giving me your feedback. Like, whether you liked them, what edits I could make. Because I really trust your opinion, but I did enjoy listening to you read. it was nice to hear someone else reading it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I even amazed myself. I'll read them back months later and I'll be like, well, I don't know. I would have probably changed. And then I'll read them back and I go, man, that's freaking amazing. Like that came out of me. That came out of my head. That doesn't seem right.
Oh yeah,
I
for
think I
sure.
have kind of a channeling of sorts when I get in those moods.
I think it'd be cool to narrate the article and to edit the narration so it's nice and smooth and all.
Oh, that would be so cool. If you don't
Yeah.
like it, don't record it. Wait till I can fix it, and then you can only read the ones you like.
Well, see, I would want to add like images in the background or in the corner to kind of match what is being narrated. Add it to the scene.
Oh, I'd
I
love
think that's a
that.
great idea.
Oh, that's cool. You can
You
just send
know.
me a note of anything you think I need to edit. Like that one word. I saw that. I've got it pulled up so I can edit it out and put it as length instead of height. But that would be so neat to see. I would love that.
Okay, good. It's a plan. Yeah,
Okay,
because
cool.
I dig that too. And just
Okay, Retro,
the
that's awesome.
retro. Can you post us a link to
Have you made anybody
to? Sorry, say it again.
You can't have anyone share a link, Charming, unless
Okay.
you have gone over to YouTube, the
Oh,
YouTube.
I have to go there.
Yeah, you can't do
Oh,
it
I
from
see.
StreamYard. But in
Okay,
YouTube,
so I have to make them a moderator, right?
yes.
Oh, I get it. Okay, so here I
It's
am.
about
Oh,
to play
wait.
it. A
Oh, I get
celebratory
it.
moment.
Okay. Okay, let me try to see if I can make uh give people like a privilege sort of thing, right?
Yeah, so you can
Hey,
click on the three.
okay, masking. Actually, come. Okay, there we go. Okay, well, here you go. And then, okay, so if I okay, do it to wait.
So everyone that is blue has the ability to share links and to see other people's channels. So if you're
Okay,
going to chat
yeah,
and you're not blue, you won't be able to go check out Frank's channel or Li's channel. So that's why I don't have problems in my room though. So, and these are all the same guys in my room. But so if you
okay.
started doing this regularly,
Yeah, I have
you'll
to do it.
learn real quick how it'll work. But yeah.
Okay, so if yeah, I can do that with, so it's got to be through the YouTube. I got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do each person individually. Yeah,
Yes. So while
I
you
see.
don't have a
Okay,
lot of people, that's a good place to start.
okay. So let's see. How do I do? All right. Okay, so retro. I think you should be moderator status so you can post. If you have a recent video, that'd be cool.
You took down the first one he said. You had to re-upload and fix the channel. Okay.
Oh, okay. I got
Okay,
it.
that's cool. Yeah. Yeah,
All
you're better.
right.
I don't even know where to start with that stuff. And every time I've looked at those editing things, they just seem like I'll give you a story. So in my younger 20s or my mid 20s, late 20s, maybe late 20s, we'll say, maybe 30s. I'm trying to remember how long ago it was. Somewhere around there. Doesn't matter. I had a friend that was the manager of a JC Penney's, and he offered me a job for the Christmas season to wrap presents because he thought I'd be really good at it, and it was some extra income for a young adult. So I'm pretty sure I was in my 20s. And I said, yeah, I would love to do that. So he let me come up there, and there was a little table in the men's department, and all I had to do was sit there and wrap people's presents. And he paid me, and I could get tips or whatever, right? And he had mentioned to me if I wanted to learn to use the register, and I said, no, I don't really want to bother with any of that. And, he showed me a little, and there was always somebody out of register. And so I didn't need to mess with that. But there was one by me. And so I'd always just call over one of the little girls and they would do it. And this one girl says to me, this is just me being a snob. I'm just telling you this story, but it's relevant. She says, you really need to learn. She didn't like having to come over and do my machine every time. And she was a bit of a snot. She was younger than me. She was a snot. And I don't think she realized who she was dealing with. So she says, you need to learn how to use the cash register. And I said, I'm not going to bother to do that. I'm only working 6 weeks. Why would I take the time to do any kind of training on a cash register for 6 weeks? So I told her, no, I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to be here long enough to bother. And she was such a turd about it. So then she said it another time, just come over here and let me show you. And I was like, I'm not going to bother to learn how to use the cash register. And she says, well, I'm going to go talk to the manager. And I said, well, while you're at it, go get David. That was the store. The manager. And so anyway, David said, she's not going to learn. Anyway, that was me throwing my weight around for a minute. But my point is that that's exactly how I feel when it comes to learning how to use the computers. I just feel like I don't need to know them that bad. What I want to do is not worth the effort it would take me to do that. And maybe I'm not being nice to myself or my theory or whatever. I don't know. But that's just how I feel about it. It just makes me feel like that time in J.C. Penney's where somebody was forcing me to learn something because it would improve my life. I didn't think it would. I thought it would make my life harder.
I sort of had a similar experience, but in the reverse,
Okay.
where I was being trained to operate the cash, and the person training me wasn't really doing a good job and was just kind of flipping through it, and I had to lean over her shoulder to see what she was doing, and looking at a screen from an angle is not the same as standing in front of it. And
Sure.
so I was always in a situation where it was like she showed me a million times and I'm the one who couldn't get it, much
Right. I
like,
gotcha.
that sort of thing. And it's like, okay, I can't learn this way and this is going nowhere. So I didn't like, I quit. And
And the
it's
days
weird because the lead up to it was using computers and a tablet for the orientation and the demonstrations or whatever. And I don't know, I wasn't accustomed to looking at cartoons to learn how to do something in real life. But that's how we are with modern technology.
I'm not afraid of it. I
Yeah,
just don't
so
you know. So,
sorry, say it again.
I said it's not that I'm afraid of technology. I mean, I've played around through it here or there. I've learned how to HTML and stuff. You know, pretty good.
Yeah, me
I was
too.
an original HTMLer. But then after that, I kind of lost interest, and I never really got into video games. I like playing Centipede, but that was about it. I like watching people play video games. I didn't mind hanging out at the arcade, but playing them frustrated the snot out of me. I didn't enjoy playing them. I didn't get, and I can only watch for so long. You do the same thing. If I have to hear Mario, if I was to go to hell, Mario would be playing. Do 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 do. I would be hearing that over and over again. That idea of just that that Pac-Man. That would be just start. I don't enjoy that recycling. I don't like people that have theory of game of life. I'm not a fan of that theory. I don't want to do this over again because I messed up on the third level. forget that. I went to a seance
I want
once.
to play.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Do you want to hear
Tell
that?
me about the seance.
Okay, so I went to a seance
Well,
once. Uh-huh.
I, I sort of tried to go to a seance and it didn't work.
Did you go, or did you and you didn't enjoy it, or did you try and it didn't work out?
Well, I sort of tried and it didn't work out. A buddy of mine invited me to a friend's place and she was into the Ouija board stuff.
Okay.
And she insisted that if we all hold on to the Ouija board, it'll move or whatever. And so we started it and I was trying not to laugh and it didn't move. And I
Right.
just said, I'm willing to wait here forever until it does move. And then my buddy just laughed and said, okay, we got to get out of here.
You
And his friend who was doing it basically called it off.
right.
She said there's something about the air that wasn't working tonight, so it wouldn't work.
Somebody in the room was not thinking. I know that. Yeah.
But go
Um,
ahead, tell me about yours.
yeah, so this place in Atlanta, that was like a psychic school, or one of those spirituality kind of places where they had, what it reminded me of is kind of like a beauty college for psychics. But they had professionals and you could book things there. But that's exactly the vibe I got. They were girls learning and they were practicing. And so for Halloween, they had offered a thing. You could go to this seance. I want to say it was either, I really want to say it was $50. But I still thought it would be fun. I was going with someone else. And but I may be wrong in the price. It might have been 2 for 50. So I'm not sure, but either way, it wasn't that much that it wasn't for a night of fun with my girlfriend. So her and I went, and I don't believe in any of this stuff, but I wanted to go. I really wanted to go with an open idea, an open mind, an open heart. My dad died before I was born. I had, they even say like bring something of your past. And so this was a big test. So I was going to get my money's worth. And I set my mind to be positive. I had a conversation with my father in the ether. And I said, okay, if this stuff is real, I know for a fact you'll come in because you're my dad. You would want to, right? And I have your little thing. She told me to bring something of theirs, your passed along loved ones. And I brought my dad's ring. Now, the thing was, me and my friend got there a little late. And so we were kind of in, and we didn't talk. We didn't stand around and talk to anyone. We went right in and got our seat. We weren't in they have you come in through like a book room or a bookshop, like a little store. And so you're kind of stopped, but like Cracker Barrel, you're kind of stopped by this store that has crystals and everything you want to look around and touch things and talk to your friends, right? But we didn't do that. We went right in and got our seats, and then they called it on and it came in, and I said, okay, Dad, if you're real, if you can reach me, if you can talk to me, just like Houdini, that's what I was thinking in my mind, like a real Houdini moment. You're going to come here and I'm going to walk away a believer. And the night went on, and she wouldn't even look at me. Honestly, it was such a bizarre experience for me because she wouldn't even look at me. It was very strange. And I had this feeling for a moment while I was there. Can she sense me? Can she sense that I'm like you're knowing she's fake, not even trying to attempt to hit me, just by my vibe. That's where my head was at the time, so you have to forgive me. But I really wondered if I didn't give off a specific vibe that made her uncomfortable. And as the night went on, she did start talking to this lady. Was a couple ladies next. She was like, there was one person in between us and then this woman, and she hit on this woman, and and she gets to talking to her. She's there for her friends that died. She had a male friend that had died. It was her best friend, and he was shot. And so she was there for closure, and they hit on this woman. And she, okay, I see this. And then the woman says, this is what really got me. You won't believe what I did. So, but then if you know me, you wouldn't believe it. But she says, I am worried. This is the woman whose friend has been shot. She says, I am worried that he is trapped because I keep seeing him. I keep seeing him being shot. I keep having dreams of my friend being shot. And she begins to cry. And here's the moment that if fortune tellers, I suppose, had any therapy value at all, for that alone, here's where it would have come in. But she didn't. The lady then says, yes, I feel that your friend is being shot over and over again. She said that out loud. I was blown away. That woman started bawling and shaking. And it was really disturbing. And for a minute, the girl tried to fumble through. He's got to discover what so he can get out of this loop. And I intervened. I could not sit there and watch that woman be tortured like that. And I went next to her and I got down and I put my hand on her and I said, she is not telling you the truth. And so that is not true. That is not true. Your friend is not tortured. Don't listen to that. And the woman clearly wasn't going to hit on me after that night. So no, I've never been hit on. That was my kind of experience there. My friend and I kind of got out of there real quick, but she also agreed that it's just she didn't know what to do. And I'm one of those people that just sometimes do things without thinking. I could have got thrown out of there. They didn't. I went and sat back down, and I just told the lady that I didn't make a scene. I didn't yell that out. I whispered that to the woman. I said that, I said it loud enough the woman heard me because she responded back, but I wasn't being a nuisance. And I got back in my seat. The woman moved on to someone else. And no one else did she do that to. Everyone else seemed to have some type of little bit of a closure, but I thought that was cruel. To even if that was true, that is cruel to say to another person. And that's my story.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the hypnotists who put on an act where they get people on stage and they tell them to do goofy things and they end up following along and it looks like they're in a trance. I sort of had a bit of experience in that where one of the hypnotists came to our college and we all went on stage and he asked most of us to leave the stage. So he gave us a few orders to follow. And it started off with having to close our eyes and then do something. And he basically started off by telling people who opened their eyes to get off the stage. And so he filtered the stage until he had the most impressionable people
Right.
left. And me and my buddy were there, like, this is just from the start. We were like, this is so stupid, but in essence, it seems like the gig is they take advantage of people who want to believe. They want to believe the gig or the magic trick or whatever it is.
At least one stage of this trick, these people did what they were told. So
Yes.
Now I know that and this goes on to narcissistic behaviors because that's how they'll test you. They'll do things like, example, going back to a bully. A bully starts out by asking you to do them a favor. They start out by saying, move over or give me your sandwich. They start out by saying, can you hand me that piece of paper? Can you hand this up to the teacher for me? Small, subtle ways, long before they're stealing your lunch money. They test you to see if you'll pick up their pencil, if you'll take that to the teacher's desk. They'll test you in some way. And that abuse is something instinctually inside them. And that's the magician. Same thing happens with our governments. They tested us. Will you wear a mask? Will you? Who will?
Yeah.
They just wanted to see if you'd do it. And a bunch of people did it. And we still argue about it today. If that was the test, who's willing to go along? If you wore the mask, are you willing to pull up a sleeve? Are you willing to do that? And some people said, nah, I'll wear the mask. But I'm not going to do that. That's why I made that video, Can't Go For That. Because I'm saying, I don't mind going to the eye doctor, but I don't want to do that. I'm not going to go eat bugs. What are you talking about? I'm not going to get my arm jabbed up with poisons, but I'll go get a broken bone fixed. That's all the boundaries. They just want to see in women's terms, dating terms, boys do it. You're not oblivious to what I'm referring to, but on dates, can they put their hand around you? Can they put their hand on your leg? Can they get up your skirt? How far up your skirt are you going to let me go? And, maybe all the way. Maybe down the shirt, first base, second base. We have terms for all of this. That's exactly what this is. It's a testing of boundaries to see how willing you are to go. And sometimes it's creepy, it's unwanted, and sometimes it's wonderful and very wanted. What are we experiencing right now? I feel like I've got some creepy, I got Donald Trump and Gates and Musk's hand up my pants, up my skirt. And they're nasty. I'm trying to say no to them, but everybody else is going, come on, let him. They're nice. They got big dicks. Fuck off. Lots of money. Let them pet you. Let them abuse you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's the parallels between the 2020 psyop and all the other things, as you just mentioned in the development of life, are quite striking. Where the the Vaseline shtick in the scam, in essence, was expecting people to accept an invasion upon their body, to have something squirted in them, and not knowing who it is that's doing the injecting and what's being squirted. It's quite odd. And everybody who went along with the scam, either maliciously or stupidly and naively, has to explain themselves along that backdrop. In essence, do we accept an invasion on our body from a stranger as normal or not? How much risk do we take with the unknown?
You made me
How
think
much
of
faith? Sorry?
Do I want to lose my autonomy?
Yeah. But, we can always trust the doctor or defer to the doctor. We don't have to make that decision. We can trust the priest.
Right.
We don't have to know anything as long as we're faithful and follow the routine.
And that's kind of sad when you start thinking about it. But that's what childhood is. This is, if I'm correct, then this is the age that we start to challenge authority.
Yeah.
Whether that be a teacher, a parent, a bully, somebody who's taking authority, trying to limit my autonomy. And that's an adolescence, or the rite of passage is leaving the nest. That's the same version of that for a human being. And so that's why kids argue with their parents. That's why teenagers argue with their parents, and parents don't understand, and teenagers just don't get it. They're clueless. That's because we are wired to start separating from our caregivers. So otherwise, mom would never let you leave. Okay. If you were an angel of a son, you would be your mama's boy, and you would never find a wife. And the same thing for girls. If moms and girls don't have some separation and notice that when teenagers are going through adolescence, that's also roughly around the age that their mothers are going through perimenopause and menopause. So you get these two hormone surges hitting each other roughly around the same time. And and that plays into, that's part of God's plan. So mom needs to let go. She wants to find her own hobbies, and she's done her job, and now it's time to rest. But if we keep on to these babies, then they don't ever go out. So I think divinely we're made to have disagreements, even if it's just over what color of eyeshadow to wear. I'm not even saying that they have to be long, drawn out arguments where you hate each other. That's actually not right. But, arguing over, I did put out the laundry or did put out the trash. That's normal. That's what normal teenagers do. They don't get it out in time, and they try to weasel out of it, and you've caught them. And so you get a response back. They would have done that throughout history forever and ever and ever. That's just the way we're designed to do. And when I think of it like that, it makes sense that we're kind of challenging authority, that we're kind of saying, I don't know about the Father, God, or religion. And I'm not really sure about the politicians being a good father figure either, or business. This mask starts to fade off of our parents, and we start to see their flaws in a way we didn't before. I think that's what we're experiencing globally. Ooh.
Yes, and the concept of authority is not the same across anybody for that matter. Rolling back the tape, while we question, well, when we first start to question authority, we're also possibly looking for another authority figure, another club, or another
Of course.
superhero or leader. And I
Yes.
think all of that, like if I had to theorize, is a cover for the individual uh, grasping with the concept of their own authority and autonomy. So before the kid is thrown out into the world, they're hovering in limbo, whether it's explicitly in their mind or anybody tells them or not. They're hovering in a limbo between dependence and being being autonomous. And most kids can't do that without help, you know. But the role of the parent is to lead their kid to becoming more and more independent and to be able to take on the world. And that's the challenge of the parent. I don't know if all parents are good at that, but um, the child questioning authority is how they handle the fact that they have to take on their own self-control and
Right.
authority.
Very good.
When you mentioned your experience with a séance,
Yeah.
it reminded me um, of of what I want to believe, and I want to ask you a general question. What do you want to believe to be true? Now, I'll answer it myself, and that is, like I said, your experience with the séance and connecting with dad, or I want to believe that my parents who are dead can see me. So the cartoony um, idea of them being up in heaven looking down upon us, I want to believe some of that is true. Now, if it ain't true, that would be too bad. I'm of the opinion that if it ain't true, I'm not too worried about what is real or what I should believe. Because if my parents can't see me, if somebody else is watching me, I don't know them or whatever. But I want to ask you, like, what would you want to be true that you just can't know?
What I want to be true. I could pick
Yeah,
one. See,
like whether it's an element of religion or faith or something kind of like that that we'll never be able to figure out.
I would have I don't, but I think it would be. I can imagine. Let's just say that, like you, it is a comforting thought to think that people that I love that have passed are still around me. That is a comforting thought. I think the brain does that intentionally because it helps us. You know. Oh, sorry. Give me just a second.
Oh, no problem. I want to I want to play Retro's video if I can figure out how to do the screen share from
Remove your
here.
Jerry's comments before you play it so we can see it real nice.
Oh yes, that's right.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, the video's got a band at the bottom. Maybe okay. Let's see if I can click the right buttons here. And okay. Wait. Here. What's that? Oh yeah, I have to take this off and share a screen. Okay. Now, where is it here? Oh yeah, there we go. The Oracle thing. Okay. Now here it is. Okay. Can you guys see Retro's Oracle video? It's not playing just yet. Do you guys see it?
I don't see it. No.
No? Oh dear. Okie doke. Let's see. Oh man. Oh no, I can't.
It should
Oh
have.
yeah, I got it. I have to hit there. Okay, there we go. Now
And then
we
get
should be able to see it.
comments. Yes. Now
Okay.
remove the comments
Now,
and you're good.
okay, yeah, get rid of that comment there. Like that. Okie doke. Now hit this. See if I can get this going.
I know you're Neil. Be right with you.
Hold on. I got to increase the volume. There we go. Let's see if we can reload that.
I know you're Neil. Be right with you. You're the Oracle? Bingo. Smell good, don't they? Yeah. I'd ask you to sit down, but you're not going to, and don't worry about the vase. What vase? That vase. I'm not the one. Sorry, kid. You got the gift, but it looks like you're waiting for something. I know you're Neil.
There we go.
Be right
Neo.
with you. You're the Oracle? Bingo. Smell good, don't they? Yeah. I'd ask you to sit down, but you're not going to, and don't worry about the vase. What vase? That vase. I'm not the one. Sorry, kid. You got the gift, but it looks like you're waiting for something.
Okay.
I know.
Oh, I love it. What is he waiting for, everybody? I love this one. This is fabulous stuff.
They're both playing. This is so cool.
get him. I'd ask you to sit down, but you're not going to, and don't worry about the lays. What lays?
Are you guys able to hear me over top of this? Does my
I'm not
voice?
the one.
Yeah, it should, right?
Sorry,
I
kid.
can hear you.
It does,
got
eh?
the gear.
Okay, cool.
But it looks like you're
I
waiting
really
for
dig this.
something.
It just goes on repeat. This is so cool. Oh, if I
I
can hit the
know
right
you're
button.
new. Be right with you. You're the
Oh wait, did I? I have to hit that. That's cool. 7th stage, adolescence. There we go.
Yeah, we'll watch it without the delay retro. It's still good. It's very good. I love it.
I really dig that.
Great scene.
I think it'd be cool to see the whole movie like that.
Mm. Oh, yeah, all pencil drawings. Dave's been doing it with pencil drawings.
So, do any of the LeperKhans want to join the panel?
Somebody want to come chat with us? How's your mouth feeling, Big Bass?
Yeah, Big Bass is on the antibiotics.
Jerry plays. Who's Jerry plays? Is this a different Jerry?
Yeah, there's a second Jerry.
There's
Let's
two
see.
Jerry.
Yep.
That's fabulous.
Let's see. Jerry. Yeah, the second Jerry. I think he's a leprechaun too, eh? Yeah, there he
Is
is.
Jerry? I don't know, Jerry. I don't know if he is.
There we go.
My first, crushy boyfriend's name was Jerry. I was in 4th grade, 5th grade. Used to walk me to school. We'd ride our bikes to school. I was in about 4th grade. I was 10. We didn't have any kissy smoochy or holding hands kind of stuff, but we did really like hanging out with each other. So I would say it's probably the first boy I really, really liked like that. We went to, our parents dropped us off at the state fair. So we went on a date. We probably held hands there, but it's very double digity. Very appropriate for the age, Yeah, I think understanding our development, honestly, helps me understand a lot of other things. And so if I was to believe, I know this sounds silly, but if I was to believe that something, if I was to choose to say, I believe this to be true with all my heart, all my soul, then I would think the meaning of life, the pattern that we're developing, is what's going on. And I know that allows for reincarnation. So there's some kids that like to take classes in reincarnation or English or math or this or that, but we're all in the same school. And so regardless of what you want to name it, that's up to you. For me, this is what it is. And because I know development is not something I have any control over, cannot prevent myself from being 10 any more than I can from being in the 21st century. You see, I can't control that. That's out of my hands. I'm just going to grow up and learn what I can while I'm here And then whatever happens after death, if I have to come back and learn in a new body, well, that's what was, I couldn't have stopped it anyway. Didn't matter what the heck I believed here. And for me, that's very comforting. That's very comforting that it doesn't matter what I believe here. What happens at death happens for all of us. No one is immune of anything. No one's getting pulled out by the side. There's no, guards there. You're not got the right shoes to come in. There's none of that. And, none of that happens in puberty. None of that happens that I turned 50. I had no say in the matter. It's no, that's what I believe. And for me, that's very comforting because life, isn't that what they say? What is our purpose here? To live, to learn what we can, to share, to try not to be too turdy, and I don't know, if life is the key, life must be the key then. And I'm okay with that because my next stage would be young adults. I'm not saying that I'm not immature, if that exists, but I'm not even sure, I have visuals of like a timeout, like an hourglass, where like, that idea of we're just little pieces of sand and it's all the same sand, but there's always one little speckle, there's always one nugget of sand that falls out first. So at some point, there's just a few sands in the bottom. And as time goes on, lots and lots of sands, and then less and less sands, and it's going through the same again and again. That kind of makes sense to me. Maybe I'm just a sand that landed in the jar a little early. So I get to go to young adult stage next. Maybe I am a really old soul, as they say, and I was one of the first in reincarnation. So maybe I was a cave girl, before you were a cave girl. Whatever. To me, that's all the same thing. But I think that some of us just hang out. Maybe that's a fun one. I could believe that one. Charming. That I've done what I'm sent to do now. I'm just going to hang out until a new birth. I think that Bible talks about inherit a new earth. Science says we'll get a new earth. Sure, that could be true. That sounds nice. Could come back as a tree or something. I don't know. That's all nice too. Any of that sounds fun, really.
See, what I particularly like about the meaning of life is that even though it's not, well, it hinges on the concept of freedom. And I interpret everything with respect to the meaning of life as being a defense of individual freedom. And when you say at some point, well, at some point, the parent takes a few steps back and has to just observe and just relinquish control over the child and just let the child be free to make mistakes, or free to explore, free to learn more, free to expand, whatever. Again, not all parents are like that. Not all parents want to be that. No parents respect freedom of anybody or whatever. But the meaning of life, the developmental stages require freedom and more freedom.
Right. To the ultimate freedom of death and the release throughout your life.
Well, I want to thank you for joining me and struggling through this StreamYard.
No, you'll get the hang of it. Do more.
Why don't we tune out and join Ladies
Oh, I'd like
live?
to.
What do you say?
Oh, excellent.
Lady, can you post a link? Well, it'll be on her page, I guess. Let's see if we can. I want to play one last video. Somebody mentioned. Well, no, I'll just play the outro. Why don't we just play an outro?
Okay.
And I'll play the extended.
Oh, she says they're just joking, Charming. She's not going
Oh, they're
live.
joking.
They're joking.
Oh,
I
okay.
wondered that because
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll stay.
she would typically wait till I finished before she'd go live. So I thought that seemed off for her to do that while you're streaming. But
Oh, okay.
I don't
Well,
know.
if she's in the mood to go live, why don't I play?
Lance is going live. It's their little
Okay,
joke.
there we
No,
go.
it's Paul that's going live.
All right, everybody.
Dick is live.
Okay, then I'll play. I want to play the entirety of the.
Okay, go ahead. We can
My,
end it if you want to.
illusion.
I'm just hang it out.
Let's see. If I can. Oh no, wait. No, that has to go off. This has to go back, and where is it? Here. And okay, yeah, now I got it.
Did you make this video? Did you make this video
Yeah.
you're showing?
Yeah, I made it last year.
Oh,
I think
love it.
you.
Okay.
I think you made a video about this movie. I think you read the book.
What book is that?
About the red balloon. Yeah, I think it was one of the many books that you read. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's funny because I grew up watching. There we go. Yeah, I grew up watching this. We watched, everybody in Canada who went to French school watched this movie. The whole movie's actually about half an hour long.
And what's the movie called?
The Red Balloon.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, Vic, if you want to join us, you're welcome. Flagging?
Yeah, it's very glitchy.
It is? That sucks.
I thought maybe that's how you made it. Is it supposed to run clean and smooth? Yeah, snapshot. You get the idea though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
well.
supposed to look like that. I thought it was an artistic take there.
Well, then it looks horrible. We can just listen to the music. Is the music cutting out here? Or is it just the video?
No, the music's playing fine. It's just the video.
Okay. Okay, well, and we can laugh. Does anybody want to join us? If anybody wants to join us, you're welcome to.
Yeah, somebody come join us. Come on, guys.
But if not, that's okay. Oh. Then why don't we sign out with this?
That's fair. We've been going a couple hours.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for joining us. Thanks. Well, actually, what do you want me to re-narrate those 2 articles and record it?
Well, I would love it if you did that. That would be cool.
Okay, for sure.
And
So,
then if you're on the medium, if you keep reading them and you don't mind, I think you have to create an account, but you don't have to. I don't care if you create an account or not. But if you do bother to do that, if you'll slap the little hands a bunch of times saying, "Oh, I love it," you can do it like I don't know how many times. I just click it a bunch if I like something. And that helps kind of push it up. And it shows that it's been read. None of them have even been read. They're just sitting there. And there's reasons to that. One, I haven't bothered to learn how to post them within communities. So I'm just raw posting on there. And there's communities like for philosophy or for this, and they want you to go join their little cliques and share it in that group. And I haven't figured out how to do that yet. Nor am I sure that it's a big deal. But that's why I don't get many views, I don't think. But I do have a couple articles that are saved in other people's playlists, so they at least bothered to do that. For, found something interesting there. That article interesting, whatever that was. But they didn't leave a comment or anything. So... would have been nice if somebody had some conversation with me, said, "Hey, I like this because of this," or "I hated this because of this."
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I like that. So what I'll do is I'll re-narrate those 2 articles, make a recording, then we can compile it together with a bit of images.
That would be rad to see the images. Yeah. I'd love to see that. I'd love to know what it made you think of. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Charming.
Thank you.
I'll go to chat and we'll finish watching the film here.
Good
Bye,
stuff.
everybody. I'll see you in a second.
Adios, guys. Thanks for joining us.
special guest tonight. I guess you all know the next song. It's called 99 Luftballons. And it happened that like Uwe, like the one who wrote the song, is here tonight. He's one of the original members, like 1,000 years ago. And he did this do thing, you know, and the whole music. I'm very happy that you're here, Uwe. And he came all the way from Berlin. So let's play the song, okay? Together, Uwe. Hast du etwas Zeit für mich? Dann singe ich ein Lied für dich von 99 Luftballons auf ihrem Weg zum Horizont. Denkst du vielleicht grad an mich? Dann singe ich ein Lied für dich von 99 Luftballons. Und dass sowas von sowas kommt. Feel the like we just stay and we just play another song. I'm into it. You start the show. I just go and grab a cup of tea or something.